The eyes of the sporting world focus on Melbourne, Australia for the first round of the 2001 Formula One World Championship. The sports-mad Australians turn out in their thousands and add a unique flavour to the event. Ferrari also made their mark during qualifying. Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello easily captured the front row. Mika Hakkinen was their nearest rival. Highly rated debutant Juan Pablo Montoya lines up 11th. Michael Schumacher is away well. Barrichello falters and Frentzen pounces on the run-up to the tight first corner. Montoya is up to 6th, but mistimed braking puts paid to a great start. He's quickly back on track, almost at Panis' expense. Consolidation is not on this rookie's agenda, as Eddie Irvine discovers to his cost. A less than impressed Jackie Stewart looks on as the Jaguar #1 rejoins right at the back. Fourth place Ralf Schumacher does all he can to keep Barrichello behind him, but can't soak up all the Brazilian's pressure. That makes him easy prey for Trulli and Coulthard. The Italian takes 5th, but the Scot has more ambitious plans. Like driving round both of them. Fortune favours the brave, and the Scot is now 5th. Barrichello is desperate to make up for his tardy start and finds anything but sympathy from Frentzen. His boss looks on in disgust as the justifiably furious German drops all the way to 16th. There's a 4-car battle for 6th as Ralf Schumacher leads Villeneuve, Panis and Verstappen. The Canadian isn't close enough to make a move just yet. But the BAR does seem to have the measure of the Williams. A points position is almost within reach. But Ralph's braking catches out Villeneuve with horrendous consequences. Due to the strength of modern Formula One cars, Ralf Schumacher and Villeneuve are perfectly okay. Much to the relief of everyone on the pit wall, including BAR boss Craig Pollock. Unfortunately, a marshal has been seriously injured, and the safety car makes an appearance while the debris is cleared. The question is, can anyone stay with Schumacher after the safety car pulls in? After 11 laps, it's time to get back to full speed. Following all his hard work, Barrichello is determined not to get caught napping. New Sauber signing Kimi Räikkönen is quick to attack and takes 10th place from Jenson Button. And just when Flavio Briatore thought things couldn't get any worse for Benetton, the Brit gets a 10-second stop-go penalty as his mechanics were on the grid within 15 seconds of the start. Hakkinen maintains a lonely vigil in 2nd, while Barrichello will soon have Coulthard for company. However, all thoughts of getting both silver arrows on the podium are quickly shattered. Ron Dennis wants answers, and it's the McLaren's front suspension that was at fault. Jarno Trulli is unintentionally in cruise control. Panis takes 4th, while Eddie Jordan prepares for the worst. A terminal problem is all but confirmed by the ease with which Nick Heidfeld's Sauber takes 5th. Barrichello's 2nd place is under threat as Coulthard intensifies his pursuit of the Brazilian. Once again, the Scot goes around the outside at turn 3 to continue his quest for the lead. Barrichello tries to hold his line, but Coulthard has none of it. Ross Brawn turns his attention to his #1 driver and race leader as Schumacher makes his only stop, handing the lead to Coulthard. The surviving McLaren driver will have to go some to stay there. Further pit activity, but of a more depressing nature. Trulli's Honda engine is suffering from a terminal misfire. BMW are the next to suffer. Montoya had been on course for some points. Gerhard Berger ponders the loss of both Williams, while Montoya embarks on the disheartening trudge back to the pit lane. Coulthard gets there via more conventional means. The Scot looks safe in second place. The best battle on track is between Heidfeld and Frentzen for fifth. The experienced German dives down the outside, but his countryman is not short on racecraft. Peter Sauber couldn't be happier with the performance of both his young drivers. At the sharp end of the action, the Ferrari crew break ranks as their number one driver is about to get their season off to a flying start. Michael Schumacher takes his second consecutive Australian Grand Prix victory ahead of Coulthard and Barrichello. Fourth place, Olivier Panis is under investigation by the stewards for overtaking under yellow flags, which could jeopardise his position. The victory celebrations are well underway, but unbeknownst to the drivers and teams, track marshal Graham Beveridge suffered fatal injuries during the Ralf Schumacher Villeneuve accident.
Unfortunately, we've just been told that the marshal did die, and obviously we're all shocked about this, and we have to look at what is possible from our side, what kind of support we can give, but certainly everybody is very much down for this situation.
The overriding story of the race is, as Michael's just mentioned, the fatality of the marshal, and I think on behalf of all the drivers, our thoughts go to him and to his family. And we need to obviously study how we can improve track safety to these people who give their time for us to enable us to go racing.
Further celebrations were curtailed as a mark of respect.
we still have the same problem during all weekend with brakes. You know, we are locking the rear wheels and doesn't have enough brake in the front. So that is a shame because we couldn't go slow during all weekend. Couldn't go fast during all weekend. And for the race, I did a good start. I passed, I think, 2 or 3 cars, but the engine started to cut and I lost power. Then everybody passed back and they stopped.
Bad luck in Malaysia, see you there.
Craig Pollock, we've just seen a huge accident involving Jacques Villeneuve, but miraculously he got out of the car.
Well, exactly, it was miraculous. If you take a look at the accident, it wasn't funny. We don't want that to happen to anybody, but obviously where I'm concerned with Jacques, it means an awful lot. It looked like something happened with Ralph Sanchin, couldn't be avoided. We'll see, we'll know from Williams, but let's just hope he's okay.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Jacques, horrendous accident.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Any ideas what happened?
Yeah, Ralph was in the middle of the track and I wasn't sure which way he would let me overtake him, on the inside or the outside. And when I finally went for the outside, that's when he hit the brakes and I had no time to move to the outside.
Glad to see you all right, thanks. Ralph, very dramatic accident. I guess you saw most of it in your rearview mirrors.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I just saw Jack coming up behind me, then fell him crashing into me. That was all. I mean, I just saw him flying away. Hope for myself that he didn't crash into something and climbed out of the car, looked after Jack. The only sad thing is that the marshal got hurt again.
Ron Dennis, we've just seen Mika Hakkinen go off in quite a big way. What did you see of the accident?
Well, we don't. He wasn't complaining of any problem. Obviously, on the TV, he appeared sideways. We wanted to speculate whether he made a mistake or something happened on the car at this stage. The important thing is that he's unhurt, and there's 16 more races to go.
Juan Pablo Montoya, you were going very well then, and then a lot of smoke and the engine.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed because it was a very good race, to be honest. It was a bit too great in the start and went straight through. But, you know, it's quite, you know, everything is experience, and I'm pretty happy with the result.
After the tragic events in Australia, the teams must now contend with the energy-sapping heat and humidity of the Malaysian Grand Prix. As expected, Michael Schumacher is on pole, but his brother almost rewrote the script. His front row aspirations were denied by Rubens Barrichello in the dying moments of qualifying. It's monsoon season in Malaysia, so did Ron Dennis pack his waterproofs?
The temperature and wind direction and everything indicates that we're going to have a dry race.
It's all set for the toughest race of the year, but we'll have to be patient thanks to an absent-minded Fisichella. Flavio Briatore can barely believe his eyes. Poor parking causes his Italian charge to be sent to the back of the grid. Montoya is also in trouble. His engine can take no more. The rest of the field starts the warm-up lap, leaving the Colombian next to no time to get into the spare Williams. Now the scheduled drama gets underway. Michael Schumacher takes full advantage of pole, leaving Barrichello to fight off Ralph and Jarno Trulli. They all want the same piece of track, and Ralph draws the short straw. Mika Hakkinen just avoids disaster, and amazingly so does everybody else. Super rookie Raikkonen is brought back down to earth by clutch failure, while fellow debutant Montoya makes up for lost time after starting from the pit lane. Michael Schumacher leads from Barrichello, Trulli, Coulthard, Frentzen, Verstappen and Jacques Villeneuve, while Jenson Button learns that you don't give that much room to Jean Alesi. Another Frenchman is out of luck. Panis is okay, but has jettisoned oil, as Minardi's Fernando Alonso quickly discovers. The Ferraris approach the invisible ice rink with predictable results. Both Schumacher and Barrichello are lucky to avoid the barrier, but have all chances of a 1-2 finish slipped away? The Malaysian weather could come to the prancing horse's rescue. Surely stops for wet weather tyres aren't far away. Ron Dennis seeks an urgent meeting with his weather forecaster, while Villeneuve redefines the term aquaplaning. Obviously, this is a case for the safety car. Trulli now leads, but heavy braking, dry tyres, plus lots of surface water equals no traction. Rubens Barrichello makes the same mistake, swiftly followed by Fisichella. Verstappen also oversteps the limit of adhesion. Coulthard survives long enough to make it to his pit, as does Barrichello. McLaren put the Scot on full wets, whilst Ferrari gamble on intermediates. But a tyre mix-up loses Barrichello and Schumacher valuable time. What should have taken 8 seconds has taken 9 times that. The safety car spares Maranello's blushes. Hakkinen plays it safe, while his rival chooses the risky option. If the monsoon conditions persist, Ferrari may regret their gamble. Coulthard leads behind the safety car, ahead of Frentzen, Verstappen, Hakkinen and Trulli. Barrichello and Schumacher languish in 10th and 11th. Now the rain has eased, will their tyre choice be vindicated? We'll soon find out as the safety car pulls off. Almost immediately, the Ferraris fight back, disposing of Mazzacani in effortless fashion. Verstappen is also on a charge. A light fuel load and little downforce help his arrows blast past Frentzen's Jordan into second. Further back, Barrichello and Schumacher target 7th place Alesi. The Frenchman's Prost offers little resistance to Maranello's finest. Ross Brawn looks quietly confident as his boys start to squabble amongst themselves. The world champion is quick to assert his authority with a bold move around the outside of the Brazilian. Barrichello doesn't make it easy for Schumacher, but the German obstinately sticks to his line and takes 7th place. truly is in possession of the final points position, but hanging on to it is easier said than done. The advantage of intermediates is about to hit home at McLaren. Schumacher performs the easiest overtaking manoeuvre he's ever done on Häkkinen and moves up to third. Ferrari look unstoppable at the moment. Meanwhile, Ralf is also on a charge. The arrow's lack of downforce can't halt Schumacher's attack. The German now zeroes in on the leader. The McLaren team faces up to the inevitable as the world champion makes his move. Resistance is futile as Michael Schumacher powers into the lead. There isn't any more rain on the horizon, but a Ferrari 1-2 looks increasingly likely. A traction advantage makes second place Barrichello's for the taking. Häkkinen is in for his first scheduled stop. There are no quandaries about tyre choice now. The Finn rejoins in 8th, ahead of Ralf Schumacher. Barrichello temporarily drops to 4th. However, he'll soon retake Verstappen. Coulthard was up to 2nd, but will have to give chase to the Ferraris again. Häkkinen closes on the now 4th placed Verstappen. Despite a horsepower deficit, the Dutchman refuses to yield. Their battle has allowed Ralf Schumacher to close and snatch 5th place. At the head of the field, Michael Schumacher makes his final stop for fuel and fresh rubber. No need to worry about losing the lead. Plenty of concern for Minardi, however, as Tarso Marquez's car develops an allergic reaction to his right rear tyre. The battle for 4th place has intensified. Ralf Schumacher dives down the inside of Verstappen. Jos the Boss makes life difficult for Häkkinen, opening the door for Frentzen as Ralf pits. No such hassles for Michael Schumacher, who's untroubled up front. Meanwhile, Williams focus on Ralf's defence of 5th from Häkkinen. A late pit stop has taken Verstappen out of the picture, and Frentzen is ahead. At the checkered flag, it's a familiar sight, a crushing victory for the world champion. The Malaysian Tifosi have more reason to cheer as Barrichello completes another Ferrari 1-2 ahead of Coulthard. A combination of great driving and strategy made Schumacher's victory look so easy, but it almost didn't happen.
I thought it was all finished by whatever lap number when the rain started, and I went off the circuit. I was seeing the barrier already very close and thinking that's my part now. And then I saw Rubens just coming next by the same corner. So actually we were lucky that the car stood in shape and didn't get heavily damaged. And we were able to do the race we did finally.
Now clouds seem to be gathering. Have you any news of forecast of rain? It was predicted this morning.
No, our own radar shows that we have about a 2,000 feet of cloud cover from about 4,000 feet up, and the temperature and wind direction and everything indicates that we're going to have a dry race. There's a possibility of some sprinkling, but I think very unlikely any sort of thunderstorms or anything. The circumstances, the conditions at the moment aren't conducive to a thunderstorm, so hopefully we'll have a complete dry race. I think it's better for everybody.
I think so. It's the problem, mechanic problem, oil system or something, because the engine fire is quite. It's a bad day for today because the team make very strong job this weekend. The car is very good. It's a one-stop strategy. I think is the good solution. The start is fantastic, but anyway, next time we'll be there.
Before Jacques spun off, did he tell you how wet it was round the back of the circuit?
No, he didn't say anything at all. We'd actually already called him in. He was half a lap from coming in to get the tire change, so just bad luck. I think everybody was spinning off at the same place.
I'm really very disappointed just looking on how little cars are running now and which teams are up there in the front. There are some occasions each year for a race like this where you can really go in the points, and I just throw it away.
I'm very happy man today. Yes, it was a fantastic race. It didn't look like at the start, but I know we have a good car and a strong driver, so it shows up end of the day to a win, and it's fantastic.
The championship moves to South America for the Brazilian Grand Prix. The colourfully dressed fanatical fans produce an atmosphere like nowhere else. They had the privilege of witnessing Formula One history during qualifying, with the Schumachers posting the first ever family front row. Hakkinen lines up in third. Heartbreak for Barrichello, his Interlagos jinx returns on the installation lap. Fortunately, with Ross Brawn in charge, the spare is quickly readied, just in time to make the grid. More panic. Hakkinen stalls, testing the reactions of those behind. Ralf Schumacher makes a poor getaway and fights for fourth with Trulli. Ron Dennis looks on in disgust as hydraulic failure causes Hakkinen to retire. The Finn's McLaren will take time to clear, so the safety car makes its third appearance in 3 races. After just 1 lap, the safety car pulls in, and it's time to go racing again. Montoya uses all his US experience of rolling starts to get a run on Michael Schumacher. And just brushes him aside with no regard for his reputation, dropping the German into the clutches of Coulthard. The new leader's teammate looks to take fourth from Trulli. But Barrichello scuppers those plans, Ralf loses his rear wing, and Barrichello ends another home Grand Prix in the gravel trap. At the front, Montoya is doing a great job of soaking up all the pressure exerted by Schumacher. The Colombian's ultra-powerful BMW engine is a big help in keeping the world champion in his place. Schumacher makes his first of 2 stops. This strategy requires a clear lead to work, so it's advantage to the one-stopping Montoya. Gerhard Berger and Frank Williams could get a return on their investment very quickly as Montoya comes up to lap the back markers. However, nothing is ever straightforward in Formula One. Verstappen makes a meal of his braking and changes the course of the race. A frustrating end to a great drive. The McLaren mechanics spring into action. The new leader will soon make his scheduled stop. Coulthard is about to put his race into the hands of his pit crew. Schumacher powers up the start-finish straight. Can he get his race back on track? He'll have to redouble his efforts once again as Coulthard rejoins in the lead. Ferrari's saviour may well be the weather. Frentzen is one of the first in as the scramble for appropriate tyres begins. Michael Schumacher's trusty intermediates are ready, while Coulthard chooses to battle on with his dry tyres. But this isn't just a passing shower. The Scot admits defeat and takes on the right tools for the job, handing the lead to Schumacher. Can the Rainmaster leave them trailing in his wake again? The Ferrari mechanics look on with concern. Schumacher's setup is not getting the best out of the intermediate tyres. Even staying in a straight line is a problem. It could have been worse, but now Coulthard has a fighting chance. There's a feeling of anticipation in the McLaren garage as Coulthard lines up Schumacher. The Scot has the inside line and cleverly uses Tarso Marquez Minardi to take the lead. An inspired move. Schumacher struggles with the indignity of being overtaken twice and a badly handling Ferrari. An excursion into the gravel trap dashes all hopes of victory, and he's not the only one in trouble. Jordan have also been caught out by the conditions. Jarno Trulli switched to full wet, allowing Nick Heidfeld to move up to fourth. This is another great drive from the former Formula 3000 champion. A double blow for the Irish team. Frentzen retires from third. Just when Eddie Jordan thought his spirits couldn't sink any lower, Trulli's tyre-induced woes continue. Panis makes up for his Australian demotion by taking fourth. Like Fisichella, he's on course to earn his team's first points of the season. A depressing sight for their fellow Honda users. Contrast that with the mood on the Sauber pit wall. David Coulthard approaches the line to take his 10th Formula One win, perhaps the most impressive of his career. He beat the Rainmaster in the wet. Sauber have put one over their better-funded rivals, courtesy of Nick Heidfeld's first podium position. Coulthard now sits just 6 points behind Schumacher in the Drivers' Championship.
I'm just delighted that I was able to get my 10th victory here. It's my sister's birthday, so she asked me for a win for her birthday, so it's the best present I could give her. So I'm really overjoyed. You know, this is definitely the best feeling I've had in a Grand Prix victory.
We've seen Rubens Barrichello stop on his outlap. What was the problem?
Yes, the engine problem. We don't know exactly what happened, if hydraulic or high pressure on the electronics problem, but in any case the engine stopped and then Rubens come back immediately. But we need to work a little bit in the T-car, while the T-car is for Michael and Rubens use a different setup in the car. But we have 3 minutes.
this? Who is this?
Norbert Haug, you looked very excited a couple of laps ago. You enjoyed that move, David Coulthard taking the lead?
Yeah, absolutely. That's great motor racing. I mean, he did a fantastic job. What I do not understand is the performance of Michael right now. I mean, how can he be 5 seconds quicker in Malaysia and now not? I mean, but let's wait and see. Now he's in the gravel.
The San Marino Grand Prix takes place at the Imola circuit, the spiritual home of Ferrari. Despite the best will of the Tifosi, the prancing horse barely broke into a gallop during qualifying. Ralf Schumacher kept his brother out of the top three in the dying seconds of the session. Similar last-gasp efforts ensured pole for Coulthard, with Hakkinen sealing an all-silver Arrow front row on Ferrari's doorstep. Hoping for a second-row win, the Tifosi send positive vibes as the lights are about to go out. Coulthard gets bogged down, unlike Ralf Schumacher. He has the momentum, the best line, and now the lead. Trulli has left Michael Schumacher behind, and Häkkinen is also easily displaced. Can Ralf stay ahead and give Williams their first win for 4 years? A home victory looks even more improbable when the world champion suffers a gear change glitch. Montoya gets by the unlikely mobile chicane, as does Panis, leaving Schumacher in 7th. Even Ross Brawn is powerless to help Michael Schumacher fend off his teammate. It's just as fraught at the tail end. Imola's curbs and a soft brake pedal leave Fernando Alonso a passenger. While the young Spaniard goes out, Michael Schumacher recovers. Panis is relieved of 7th at Rivazza. At the front, Ralf Schumacher is well in control ahead of Coulthard, but in case the worst happens, the mechanics circulate the emergency plan. Further back, Trulli is 3rd, but is holding up Häkkinen, Montoya, Barrichello and Michael Schumacher. There's no need for detailed discussions on what's gone wrong with Schumacher's car. The German's rivals will be hoping that he hasn't used up a season's worth of bad luck in one race. Any hope of salvaging some points has gone out of the window. Trulli is on course for championship points. He was running in 3rd, but temporarily dropped to 8th. He's the first of the leaders to make their initial stop. Michael Schumacher will see no return for his efforts. Brake and wheel rim problems cause his retirement. Montoya hassles Trulli for 6th. Tamburello isn't usually a passing place, but the Colombian ignores convention and muscles his way past. It's looking good for Williams. Ralf Schumacher seems on course for his first Formula 1 victory. Not too far behind, Häkkinen comes in for his first stop and slips to 4th behind Barrichello. Coulthard circulates without pressure in 2nd. He could secure the joint lead in the Drivers' Championship, if he stays there. Jacques Villeneuve won't be going much further, as his Honda engine makes it crystal clear it's had enough. Barrichello makes his stop. Can he keep Häkkinen at bay and stay in 3rd? An engine misfire ensures that Fisichello's progress is at an end. Some hot in-laps and lightning-quick pit work has given Barrichello 3rd place, ahead of Häkkinen and Montoya. Neither of them is a threat to Ralf Schumacher, who hasn't put a foot wrong since he took the lead at the start. Montoya's good showing is tempered by a faulty clutch, which makes his final stop far from routine. The rookie loses yet more places, giving the Williams management ample reason to end his race. Ralf Schumacher zeroes in on a thoroughly deserved victory. Not only is it his first Grand Prix win, he also ends years of victory drought for Williams, BMW and Michelin. In a flashback to his karting days, Michael is the first on the scene to congratulate him.
Ralf, you spent a lot of years watching your brother clock up over 40 Grand Prix wins, and now you've done it yourself. Talk us through the start. Last year you got on the grass at the start, this year the same again.
Yeah, it was the same situation, but this year I was a bit further and Luckily, David gave me the space, and yeah, I think it was a clean start. Beside that, from there on, I was in front. I couldn't even believe it, to be honest. Then pull the gap out. Then after a few laps, I thought he was going to go a bit quicker, so I had to push again because I had to watch after my brakes a bit. And from there on, it was a pretty long race, I must say. I mean, it took ages, to be honest.
Now, you said yesterday after qualifying you were very confident with your Michelin tyres for the race. How confident are you that you can take the battle to the two McLarens ahead of you on the grid?
Well, if I heard they took the softer tyre, and other Bridgestone teams are concerned about it, and I know the Bridgestone soft tyre, and if I look at the front tyre McLaren have, they don't look particularly good, so there might be a chance for us to beat them, yeah.
The brakes have gone. No brakes in the last 2 laps, so nothing to do. Overtook me Mazzacane and Tarso Marquez, and after was very dangerous, and the final I crashed before entering in the pit lane to finish the race.
Nearly the same as last year, remember?
Oh, at the start? Yeah, but I moved when I saw you, yeah. It's like... John.
Che abbraccia proprio calorosissima Ralf Schumacher, che sta saltellando nella gioia di ritirare questo. Ora che c'è stata la fatto con bilancio compreso a fine gara.
The Spanish Grand Prix heralds the return of wheel spin reducing traction control and other driver aids. International stars such as Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones are here to see this milestone race in person. Patrick Kluivert mingles with Michael Schumacher, who takes his 4th pole of the season. He shares the front row with Mika Häkkinen, who discusses his chances with King Juan Carlos. Jacques Villeneuve lines up 7th. Launch Control's first victim is David Coulthard. 3rd on the grid will shortly become a frustrating last, if he can get going again. With their laptops primed, the technicians have precious little time to sort out the software malfunction. But under the watchful eye of their boss, the Scot gets a second chance. Another crucial test leaves Frenson's Jordan wanting. Michael Schumacher stays in front of Häkkinen, while Barrichello lets himself down at the start again. Ralf Schumacher blasts past and truly also harries the Brazilian. But Barrichello doesn't let them get away with it. He reclaims 3rd, while it all gets a little too close for comfort in the midfield. Bernoldi breaks his front wing, as does a hasty Coulthard. Bad luck rarely restricts itself to a single hit, and now the Scot requires a trip to the pits. Michael Schumacher leads from Häkkinen and Barrichello as a new nose cone is ready for Coulthard. The Scot faces his 2nd start from last position. Eddie Jordan hasn't seen a lot of positive images on his monitor this season. Frenson does his best to change that, but putting a wheel on the grass takes both him and new Jaguar signing Pedro de la Rosa out of the picture. A home race to forget for de la Rosa. Michael Schumacher is still in front, but can't relax for a second with Häkkinen so close. The lap times indicate to Patrick Head that Montoya is being held up. The Colombian could get past 5th place Trulli during the first round of stops. It's nearly time for Ralph's first stop, but a locked rear brake puts pay to the German's efforts. The Imola winner quickly comes back down to earth after throwing away 4th place. The first round of stops has been rough on Trulli as he loses another place to Villeneuve's BAR. Montoya and the Canadian are on course for good results, but getting to the checkered flag has been a big problem for them this season. Schumacher is in the pits for his crucial 2nd and final stop, while Häkkinen powers down the start-finish straight to assume the lead. All eyes focus on Häkkinen, and he hardly needs instructions on what to do now. The next few laps will be crucial to the outcome of this race. A potential podium position looks secure for Barrichello until mechanical problems intervene. The diagnosis is a broken rear suspension. Häkkinen's race hangs in the balance. Can he win his first Grand Prix of the season at Schumacher's expense? A longer second stint and some blindingly quick in and out laps has earned Häkkinen the lead. His wife Erja leads the celebrations in the McLaren garage. Schumacher must feel like he's suffering from deja vu as another McLaren disappears into the distance. Fortunately for the German, it's just Coulthard unlapping himself. However, this slight drop in pace could be the byproduct of bad vibration on his final set of tyres. The way is clear for Mika Häkkinen to get back into championship contention. It's the last lap, and he's got a substantial lead. But in a cruel twist of fate, the former world champion suddenly slows. The Finn's faulty clutch leads to a more spectacular failure. Frustration doesn't even begin to describe how he and his wife are feeling at the moment. The terminally wounded McLaren is finally laid to rest, handing the race win on a silver platter to Michael Schumacher. It's hardly the most well-deserved win he's ever scored, but 10 championship points are always gratefully received.
Even though we fight for two different teams, two different interests, a lot of pressure, we always have gone on very well, and you know, in this moment you have a lot of feelings for him.
Häkkönen's catastrophe has allowed two other drivers to make history. Second place Juan Pablo Montoya earns his first trip to a Formula One podium, while Jacques Villeneuve gives BAR their first top three finish. The dignitaries quickly evacuate the podium before the champagne shower begins, and Villeneuve shows no sign of ceremonial rustiness despite it being 41 races since he last sprayed the bubbly.
Ron Dennis, the first start of a new era. How do you feel it's going to go for the whole grid?
Well, I don't think it's actually going to go well for the whole grid. As unfortunately, I hope it doesn't, nobody's problems cause a restart. But hopefully we've worked hard enough to eliminate our own problems. But I think it's a better way to go.
I think we ran out of oil. We have an oil, I think we have an oil leak somewhere.
Lots of battles, do you enjoy it?
No, because the battles were going the wrong way. People were pressurising me. I prefer it the other way around, but I don't think we could have done a better race for what we had. We just need to make the car quicker.
It's super disappointing. I mean, god damn it, you know, Jesus, you know, could it be fantastic, fantastic finish for me here. You know, it was going so easy, and I didn't even have to push. I was just more or less cruising, you know, short shifting, braking early, accelerating gently, but it just didn't work out this time for me over here, you know.
The picturesque Styrian region is the home for the A1 ring, the venue for the Austrian Grand Prix. Qualifying was almost a Williams' benefit. Ralf Schumacher put his BMW V10 to good use and heads the second row. He was out-qualified for the first time this season by his teammate Montoya, but both were put in the shade by Michael Schumacher. However, the new driver aids could undo all that hard work. It's a real cause for concern. Four drivers failed to leave the grid, causing chaos behind. At the front, both Williams quickly relegate Michael Schumacher, with Montoya taking charge. Coulthard and Barrichello battle for fourth, as gearbox failure sidelines Frentzen, and launch control is a little too efficient for Heidfeld, Trulli and Hakkinen. At the Remus curve, Barrichello has won the early skirmish for fourth, while the lightly fueled Verstappen takes 8th from Villeneuve. The Canadian's novel line gives 9th place to his teammate, Panis. The safety car has had a busy season so far, and once again it is called out to aid Häkkinen's safe passage to the pit lane. The other three rolling wounded are already there. Trulli is able to get going again. It's touch and go for Heidfeld, but Frentzen isn't so lucky. Montoya leads during this no overtaking period ahead of Ralph and Michael Schumacher, Barrichello and David Coulthard. That could change very quickly as the safety car's lights have gone out. It's time to get back up to speed. Häkkinen does that, albeit a lap down. Verstappen's light fuel load has helped him up to 5th, past Coulthard. That and his overtaking prowess could be more than Barrichello can handle. Irvine has similar trouble with 10th placed Villeneuve, but a trip across the grass deals with the Ulsterman's immediate problem. Ralf Schumacher struggles in 2nd place, and rapidly decreasing brake power means that his race could come to a sudden halt, even if his car can't. Trulli will also have that sinking feeling very shortly. The Italian left the pit lane under a red light and has promptly been disqualified. As Michelin feared, Montoya's tyres experience a significant drop in performance. Are his defences up to the task? Schumacher tries the outside line at the Remus curve, but Montoya won't give up that easily, and both drivers pay for their stubbornness. Barrichello now leads from Verstappen, but the Dutchman needs to pit early due to his two-stop strategy. Can he fight back and give Arrows their first point of the season? Barrichello is pushing just as hard for his 2nd Formula One win. Michael Schumacher's fight back starts at the expense of 4th placed Olivier Panis. The world champion quickly lines up Kimi Räikkönen, who hardly keeps a tight grip on 3rd position. The German's pit board shows that Coulthard is the next target. The Scot is 2nd, ahead of the rapidly gaining Michael Schumacher. It looks as if the German's Ferrari is undamaged after his clash with Montoya. The Colombian spectacular race comes to a disappointingly tame end, thanks to hydraulic failure. Barrichello makes his sole stop. The Brazilian drops to 2nd, handing the lead to Coulthard. Now, can the Scot take advantage of a longer first stint and keep the lead? The possibility of points is difficult to resist for 7th placed Villeneuve, who breaks the pit lane speed limit. The best driver aid is an efficient pit crew, and the McLaren team rarely lets its drivers down. Can the boys keep the prancing horse at bay? The pit lane is very long here, but Barrichello has traffic to deal with. The English team has done it again, but now the focus shifts to the Silver Arrow's reliability. The events of Spain are all too fresh in the memory for McLaren personnel. Engine failure continues Button's miserable season so far. Michael Schumacher is giving away valuable championship points. The Ferrari hierarchy won't stand for this.
Rubens, it's last lap. Let Michael pass for the championship. Let Michael pass for the championship, Rubens, please.
Time is running out for the order to be obeyed. Coulthard approaches the line for a well-earned victory, while Barrichello makes his feelings abundantly clear by yielding to Schumacher at the last possible moment. The Scots win helps ease the pain of Häkkinen's Spanish disaster. Räikkönen finishes 4th, and Verstappen nets Arrow's first point of the season. After handing over 2nd place, Barrichello's morale is at rock bottom. Coulthard's outlook couldn't be any more different. His win takes him to within 4 points of the championship lead.
from where I was in the grid, obviously having qualified 7th, it was important to start heavy and just to have the options open depending on how the race went. I was able to lean the engine out early on after the first few laps and save quite a few laps of fuel, as well as obviously with the safety car, and that enabled us to go quite long.
Schumacher's lead could have been down to just 2 points. Barrichello knows that all too well.
You were running in second place. It looked quite comfortable. Why are you in? Was it brake problems?
Yeah, the brake pedal got longer and longer, so I had nearly no brake pressure left. And then I had to stop, basically. That was all.
Va bene, io non dico niente.
Monte Carlo, the mecca for the rich and famous, provides the affluent backdrop for the Monaco Grand Prix. The motto here is, if you've got it, flaunt it. Naomi Campbell and P. Diddy are amongst the VIPs on hand, and as always, Prince Albert gives the royal seal of approval. David Coulthard qualified on pole ahead of championship leader Michael Schumacher and teammate Mika Häkkinen. The field gets set for the warm-up lap, but it won't be led by Coulthard. In a repeat of the Spanish Grand Prix, his launch control fails at a critical moment. Once again, Michael Schumacher profits from McLaren misfortune. The world champion takes full advantage of Coulthard's relegation to last and leads from Häkkinen and Barrichello. Ralf Schumacher takes fourth from Irvine, opening the door for his teammate. The Scot will have to be patient as there's very little room for manoeuvre at the Grand Hotel hairpin. As always, the Armco is there to punish the hasty, and Heidfeld is just another victim. Schumacher leads from Häkkinen, Barrichello, Ralf Schumacher and Montoya. The former Formula 3000 champion has had an incident-packed first 6 races, and a trip over the curbs here sets him up for more of the same. His bosses love his speed and fighting spirit, but a few more finishes wouldn't go amiss. Barrichello approaches the tunnel as he pursues second-place Häkkinen. There's more than just light at its end. A potential Ferrari 1-2 is on offer thanks to the Finns' handling problems. A dreadful weekend for McLaren, and indescribably frustrating season so far for their former world champion. A total of 4 points is a miserable haul for a driver of his talents. There's no end in sight to McLaren's problems. Coulthard is stuck in 13th, behind Enrique Bernoldi's arrows. Precious few overtaking opportunities and some great defensive driving from the Brazilian will test the Scots' strength of character to the limit. Help for Coulthard's predicament could come from an unexpected source. Can the Scot take advantage as Schumacher comes up to lap him and Bernoldi? He gives the race leader plenty of room, but loses valuable ground to Bernoldi. Ferrari is not likely to shed any tears. Honda power comes to the fore in the battle for 5th. But Trulli and Villeneuve will soon be joined by Fisichella's Bennett and Renault. However, all thoughts of a 3-way scrap melt away like Trulli's engine. Watching the pit wall monitor has been a stressful experience for Eddie Jordan this season. Eddie Irvine looks set to equal Jaguar's best ever result if he can hold on to 4th place. The Ulsterman's advances further frustrate the progress of Coulthard, who is still stuck behind Bernoldi. Monaco has the habit of turning the form book on its head. It's unlikely that team principal Bobby Rahal would have predicted one of his cars would be lapping a McLaren. Michael Schumacher is seldom prey for upsets. That's why he's a magnet for other sports stars, like Ronaldo. John Alesi is in 6th. His hold on the last championship point becomes even more secure, following Frenson's misjudgment in the tunnel. Driver-team boss relations will be the biggest casualty of that crash. At the front, Michael Schumacher comes in for his one and only stop. This allows his teammate to assume the lead. Albeit briefly, as the Brazilian has yet to make his stop. Electrical problems look like curtailing Ralf Schumacher's race, putting Irvine on the verge of Jaguar's best ever result. 6th place Coulthard is long free of Bernoldi after their pit stops and could salvage some points. That's beyond Ralf Schumacher, despite the best intentions of his pit crew. His retirement also promotes Villeneuve to 4th. Rubens Barrichello's short tenure at the front is about to come to an end as he pits for more fuel and fresh rubber. The Brazilian leaves the way clear for Michael Schumacher to retake the lead. Alain Prost looks concerned. Jean Alesi's up to 5th, but a rear puncture puts the prospect of the team's first points of the season under threat. The problem is quickly dealt with. This stop lets Coulthard up to an unthinkable 5th, but the Frenchman is still on course for a valuable championship point. Michael Schumacher's victory has never been in doubt. He can even afford to slow right down to let Barrichello close for the grandstand finish. There'll be plenty of basking in reflective glory for Irvine, who bags Jaguar's first ever podium. Much to the relief of Bobby Rahal. Schumacher celebrates a 5th Monaco victory, while Prost saviour Alesi forgets there's barely enough room to swing a cat at La Rascasse, never mind an F1 car. He finishes 6th, behind Coulthard.
I don't know what is so special. I certainly love that circuit. I have always found it easier to find my setup, which is very important again here, to throw around the car through the corners. But you have to be lucky to some degree as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic to get a podium, and especially here, you know. To have 2 Ferraris and a Jaguar on the podium in Monaco's really what Formula One's about in a way.
So far, Formula One 2001 is about Schumacher and Ferrari domination. The world champion's 4th victory takes him 12 points clear in the Drivers' Championship, while Barrichello's 2nd place helps give Ferrari a 32-point lead in the race for the Constructors' title.
Jean Alesi, you've looked very good all weekend, a good qualifying. Points today?
You know, before the race it's very hard to express what really I would like to do. Obviously, I had a very hard season so far since the beginning. So here I have a chance to do well, and I will take this chance. I would like to have just 10 Monte Carlo at the championship.
Mika Häkkinen, very bad luck. What happened there?
Well, we don't have exactly 100% understanding yet what's going on, but I just lost the balance of the car completely, and the steering wheel wasn't straight, so I was a bit concerned.
He's still there, it's 15, 16 seconds.
Jean Alesi, a fantastic race from 11th on the grid to finish 6th, Prost first points. How do you feel?
I feel really relaxed now because it has been such a long time without point. Finally, we have the point, even if we were not really lucky. I had to stop to change the tires because I had a puncture at 6 laps to go. Never mind, we have 1 point, is good.
The magnificent St. Lawrence River surrounds the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, the home of the Canadian Grand Prix. Celebrities such as Nicolas Cage, Naomi Campbell and Jim Carrey have all been attracted by top-class motorsport at Montreal. For the second time this season, Michael heads an all-Schumacher front row ahead of David Coulthard. Ricardo Zonta joins the grid in place of the injured Frentzen. The Schumachers start well with Coulthard tucking in behind ahead of Trulli and Barrichello. Hometown hero Villeneuve has a dreadful start as Coulthard settles in for a long race. Barrichello uses his horsepower advantage and a light fuel load to leave Trulli behind as the field approach the slowest corner on the track. With plenty of heavy braking, the discs get a real roasting at this circuit. Villeneuve languishes well outside the top 10, but Fisichella and Bernoldi's collision helps remedy that situation. More stress for Benetton Supremo Briatore, as Button is now side by side with Bernoldi. Fisichella arrives on the scene with disastrous consequences. The Italian team's swan song season goes from bad to worse. The top four are breaking away while the midfield loses yet more members. The latest casualties are Irvine's Jaguar and Heidfeld's Sauber. Barrichello is the man to watch as he effortlessly drops Coulthard to fourth. Ralph isn't having such an easy time with his elder brother, and he will soon have another Ferrari to deal with. Barrichello will put the Williams driver's defensive skills to the test. The Brazilian looks ready to pounce, but is too eager to get the job done. He had switched off his traction control to get rid of a misfire, but the cure has a devastating side effect. Barrichello rejoins in 14th. Jenson Button takes his 10-second stop-go penalty for a jump start, while the pace of the Schumacher brothers is proving too much for third place David Coulthard. It's rapidly turning into a Schumacher lockout. Barrichello's recovery drive is well underway. But Montoya's mistake forces the Brazilian into suicidal evasive action. The remaining Ferrari and Williams lead behind the safety car, ahead of Coulthard, Trulli, Panis, Verstappen and Raikkonen. Montoya and Barrichello begin the post-mortem as the safety car pulls off and the green light goes on. Michael Schumacher looks to have caught the rest napping, but the power of his brother's BMW engine could redress the balance very quickly. The Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve has never been kind to its native son, and a broken drive shaft causes his fifth retirement in 6 Canadian Grand Prix. At the front, the battle for the lead is well and truly on. For the first time this season, Michael is put under intense pressure by his brother. Ralph ponders a move down the inside, but there's no need for heroics now as Michael Schumacher comes in for his only stop. Some qualifying laps are now in order if Ralph wants to keep the lead. The ball is well and truly in his court as his brother gives chase. Panis' pursuit of a podium finish has been curtailed by brake problems. Hakkinen is having one of his more uneventful drives to third place, but he'll be there to pick up the pieces should the leaders fail. There's no sign of any weakness in race leader Ralf Schumacher's performance. He's put in some red-hot laps since his brother pitted, and now it's time for the mechanics to do their bit. Ralph's Michelins perform better in hot temperatures and give the Williams team a chance for their second win of the season. Easier said than done, with a three-time world champion behind you. Coulthard has slipped to fourth behind Häkkinen, but that's hardly important now. Norbert Haug and logistic coordinator Joe Ramirez look on in disgust as the Mercedes cremation finally stops in the pits. The sight of Trulli's Jordan slowing is a depressingly familiar one in 2001. Raikkonen easily takes fourth, and it won't be too long before that pit board is redundant. The Italian is another victim of the circuit's appetite for brakes. That leaves Raikkonen en route to 3 points and allows Alesi to build on his Monaco breakthrough. Jos Verstappen had been on course for his second point of the season, but his brakes can't stand the heat. Ralf Schumacher's Williams has exhibited bulletproof reliability, and the German's pace, particularly around his pit stop, was more than enough to earn him his second victory. His brother won't be too disappointed with second. He now leads the Drivers' Championship by 18 points from Coulthard. The Scots teammate earns his first podium finish of the season, while Schumacher Jr.'s army of disciples continues to grow. There's more elation at Prost as Alesi earns them 2 more valuable championship points. Ralph's win even brings a smile to Frank Williams' face, and a well-justified pat on the back for the team. It's Formula One's first sibling 1-2.
It was a great racing today. The whole time the two of us were together, and I was always waiting for him to do a mistake. Obviously he didn't. So I knew that, I tried it a couple of times at the end of a straight, but I knew that was difficult. So I waited for the pit strategy, which I thought that we were going longer anyway, and it worked out that way.
Ralph experiences that unique champagne down the overalls feeling, while Häkkinen stands on the podium for the first time since Japan 2000.
obviously we're not having a very good weekend. We've had severe brake problems, and obviously both cars seem to be out. What happened with Jack's car, I don't know, but it's just a culmination of bad circumstances. It happens.
I feel very happy, especially because my team really is enjoying these 2 points. I mean, it's great.
The European Grand Prix takes place at Germany's Nürburgring. This is Schumacher country, so it's no surprise to see the stands coated in Ferrari red. However, their heroes sent heart rates rocketing during the installation lap. A fuel pickup problem struck the spare car, which left the pole sitter stranded on the circuit. Help came from an unlikely and less than desired source. Schumacher's rescue resulted in a PR nightmare. Once back at the pits, he was able to take the start in his designated race car. A somewhat calmer sellout crowd focuses on the start, particularly the third all-Schumacher front row of the season. Both get away cleanly, but Ralph may not think his brother's tactics are whiter than white. Montoya claims third, while Coulthard slots into fourth. With the exception of Tarso Marquez, everybody gets through the infamous Castrol S safely. The Schumachers lead, followed by Montoya, Coulthard, Hakkinen and Trulli. Strategy master Ross Brawn looks on as his number one driver comes under increasing pressure from his brother. The Nürburgring's long straights should favour the BMW V10, but the Ferrari is a tremendous all-round package and has been on the pace at nearly every race so far. The Williams mechanics are thinking several laps ahead to the first stops. However, Ralph may not need their help to capture the lead. Gearbox and electrical problems end Grand Prix number 100 for Olivier Panis. Reliability is BAR's Achilles heel. Mirrors showing a dangerously close Williams are Michael's major concern, and Montoya will only add to those worries. It's time to put the pit crews to the ultimate test as the leaders are in for their first stops. There's very little in it, but Ferrari get their revenge for Canada and Michael stays ahead. Ralph's pursuit of his brother could soon end as he puts a wheel over the pit exit line. That's against the rules, and to make matters worse, he's now 4th behind Coulthard, which will soon become 3rd as temporary leader Montoya makes his stop. Ralph retrieves 2nd from Coulthard's off-the-pace McLaren. Ralph races on under a cloud, while Coulthard has another Williams to deal with. Over the last 2 races, Montoya's driving has been erratic, to say the least, and the Scot will be all too aware of that now. The Colombian uses his power advantage to close up on Coulthard, but misses his braking point and loses all the momentum he had just built up. Ralf Schumacher's punishment for crossing the pit lane exit line is a 10-second stop-go penalty. He drops to 4th behind Coulthard, Montoya and Michael Schumacher. The Colombian has profited from his teammate's mistake and Coulthard's pit stop, but will do well to threaten the world champion. For the 2nd consecutive race, Trulli slows to a crawl, this time with a transmission problem. Frenson's faulty traction control ends another miserable weekend for the Irish team. Barrichello's rather dreary race is livened up by a spot of rallycross. There's no need for divine intervention though. The Brazilian is far enough ahead of Häkkinen to stay in 5th. Barring miracles, Prost's run of point-scoring finishes will soon come to an end. Jean Alesi makes sure of that by spinning out of 11th place. Another near faultless performance earns Michael Schumacher his 5th win of the season. Montoya earns 2nd place after a controlled drive, ahead of Coulthard and Ralf Schumacher. The world champion goes 24 points clear in the Drivers' Championship.
We had a nice race again together, Ralph and myself, until the stop and go. So it was quite an entertaining weekend and tough weekend as well, because then in the end Jean Pablo was coming and pushing, and so in this respect we're very delighted to have finished where we are.
I don't know what happened, but he used the T car. Now he's in the race car. Maybe he like to test something, but the car stopped. But we don't know why.
Top of the line, is that okay?
My traction control just stopped working and came out of the blue. It just spun around, and after I stopped the race I saw that I had some problems on the rear tires. But anyway, I couldn't go any further than that.
The rules are the rules, and I didn't actually see it, but apparently he crossed the right white line on the pit exit. I don't know why, but anyway, he got the penalty, and that rather destroyed his race, obviously. Great for Juan Pablo to get a result. He's had a bit of a difficult time in the last few races, as people have seen, and come under a bit of pressure. And he drove really well today, and I hope his championship can build from here.
Round 10 sees the Formula One fraternity at Manicourt for the French Grand Prix. A spectacular display from the country's Air Force takes the fans' minds off matters on track, while Irish midfielder Roy Keane tries to do the same for Eddie Jordan. Qualifying saw Ralf Schumacher take his first Formula One pole position, ahead of his brother. Coulthard and Hakkinen fill out the second row. Mika Häkkinen gets an attack of McLaren's start line maladies as for the 4th time this season, and McLaren fails to leave the grid. Gearbox failure ends the Finns' race before it even started. A 50% retirement rate scuppers his World Championship campaign. With the flying Finn grounded, the now 21 car field sets off. Ralph leaves his brother behind, and Michael now has to fight off Coulthard and Montoya. Ferrari's #1 wins that battle. Coulthard is 3rd ahead of Montoya, Trulli and Barrichello. Villeneuve can't escape BAR's reliability problems. That first podium in Spain must seem a long time ago for Craig Pollard. Sauber have trouble locating Raikkonen. Well, their finished charge zeroes in on 7th placed Frentzen. Can the Rookie of the Year candidate earn his 4th point-scoring drive of the season? Irvine lines up 9th placed Olivier Panis. The Frenchman opens the door at the final turn, and the Ulsterman goes through. Jaguar manager Niki Lauda knows it's way too early to celebrate yet, though. Ralf Schumacher leads from Michael, but that will soon change as Ralf comes in for his first of 2 stops. How will Ferrari react? Ross Brawn is the man with the plan. Michael comes in for his first stop, the lap after his brother. They look to continue their mid-season dominance. Michael has got ahead of Ralph, and once all the front runners begin their second stints, he will assume the lead. Coulthard's chances of victory receive a hammer blow in the form of a 10-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He drops to 5th. Irvine continues his charge and dives down the inside of Frentzen. The German uses desperation tactics to keep the Ulsterman behind. Accidentally or not, that manoeuvre will only serve to infuriate the already fired-up Jaguar team. Perhaps fearing a stop-go penalty, the German does the right thing shortly before the Adelaide hairpin. A 3rd podium finish is in Montoya's future, but the crystal ball didn't figure engine failure into the equation. Irvine's Cosworth also lets him down on the verge of glory. He was running 7th and a points finish looked on the cards. But as Montoya also knows, Formula 1 V10s rarely battle on for adversity. Montoya's demise sets up a battle for 3rd between Coulthard and Barrichello. The Brazilian is on a 3-stop strategy, the result of which will be clear very shortly. Barrichello gets out ahead, but there's still time for Coulthard to challenge for 4 championship points. Coulthard will have his chance soon as the battle for 3rd encounters traffic. Jean Alesi's soon-to-be lapped Prost enables the Scot to have a go down the inside. He has the best line into the corner, but Barrichello has more momentum at the exit and stays in front. Victory and a career milestone await Michael Schumacher at the checkered flag. The German's 6th win of the season also marks his 50th Formula 1 victory. Ralph could have made his brother's life more difficult, but for a bad set of tyres on his 2nd stint. The remaining podium position goes to Barrichello, chased all the way by Coulthard.
It's the perfect result, as you said before. In Canada, we had 1-2 Ralph, myself, and now we have 1-2 myself and Ralph, and Rubens next to us. A bit unexpected, I guess, for Rubens, coming from where he came. We did a perfect race. So, obviously, for Ferrari, a very good day.
Michael Schumacher leads the Drivers' Championship by 31 points, and Ferrari have nearly double the Constructors' points of the McLarens. With all this hard work done only halfway through the season, Ralph recognises his brother needs time to cool off.
This morning in the warm-up we got to the point where we were quite pleased with the car. Nevertheless, the temperatures has changed a big way from this morning, so it's going to be very hot and tires going to be a big key issue in this Grand Prix, so we better keep it cool.
Best of luck. Thanks, Mika. You failed at the start there. What broke on the car? Was it the drive shaft?
Really don't know. You know, the team tried to start the car. They were trying to start it, but it just didn't. Engine didn't even spin, didn't even roll. Some reason. Something has broken inside somewhere. It didn't start.
It's not your year. Very bad luck, Mika.
Rural Northamptonshire cradles the historic Silverstone circuit, the home of the British Grand Prix. An aerial display by the world-famous Red Arrows is just one of the pre-race highlights. This is just a fraction of the pomp and circumstance that accompanies this race. Formula One grandee Michael Schumacher is on pole. He leads a Bridgestone Benefit, followed by the McLarens of Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard. Jaguar struggled during qualifying, while Jordan did well. Can both teams pull off an upset? Michael Schumacher holds his advantage over Hakkinen, while Coulthard and Trulli squabble for third. The McLaren sneaks ahead, but Trulli won't be dealt with easily. The Italian pays a big price for his fighting spirit. He's joined in the gravel trap by Panis, who collided with teammate Villeneuve. Schumacher and Hakkinen make a break for it up front, ahead of Montoya, who was 8th on the grid. Heidfeld takes 7th from Frentzen, without dire consequences, while the remarkably unscathed Coulthard starts his fight back from last place. Ron Dennis shows no trace of emotion, but that'll soon change. Coulthard's McLaren initially hid the damage it suffered from the collision with Trulli, but it rears its ugly head at Priory and puts the championship further out of reach. Hakkinen raises the Silver Arrow's morale by putting Schumacher under tremendous pressure. The Finn harnesses the overwhelming power of the Mercedes V10 to take the lead from the surprisingly obliging world champion. The Flying Finn is back. Further back, Montoya is running a strong third ahead of Barrichello, Ralf Schumacher and both Saubers. The cool temperatures of qualifying didn't suit Montoya's Michelins, but it's warmer now, and the Colombian is a legitimate threat to the front runners. He pulls out of Schumacher's slipstream and effortlessly moves into second thanks to a lighter fuel load. Hakkinen is in for his first stop, shortly after his compatriot Raikkonen. The senior Flying Finn loses the lead, but Montoya has yet to stop. Ralf Schumacher is 5th, just clear of the battling Heidfeld and Frentzen. Their fight gains greater significance as engine failure sidelines Schumacher. The answer lies in the telemetry, but even the latest technology can't save Ralf now. Michael Schumacher is in for his sole stop, while Hakkinen exits the pit lane after his second. Will he win at Silverstone for the first time? The leader's two-stop strategy has definitely worked for him. The same can't be said for Montoya, who's stuck behind the now second-place Barrichello. Schumacher exits behind the battling South Americans, but Barrichello and Montoya have yet to stop. Despite having a heavier fuel load, Barrichello keeps Montoya behind him. Has Ross Brawn's conservative strategy guaranteed a podium finish for both Ferraris? We'll soon find out as the Brazilian rejoins the race after his sole stop. A poor second stop and bad set of tyres handicapped Montoya, and as a result, he stays in 4th. Hakkinen is on his last lap, but the race leader won't be taking anything for granted. The Spanish Grand Prix disaster will still be fresh in his mind. The Finn allows himself a celebratory wave and is now just meters away from the checkered flag. Hakkinen wins the British Grand Prix, but Michael Schumacher increases his championship lead in second, and teammate Barrichello finishes third. The Saubers of Raikkonen and Heidfeld finish behind Montoya, but in the points. A great day for the Swiss team. Mika Häkkinen takes his first win of the season at round 11. It's been a long time coming and is definitely one to savour for the team and his wife, Erja.
Mika, you've never won here at Silverstone before. Indeed, you haven't won in Formula One for nearly a year. How does it feel?
It feels really good, obviously, after all this trouble that's been going on this year. So it's good to win it, obviously, and particularly here in Silverstone, because trying for English team and English crowd, so we made a great show, you know.
The battle for the Drivers' Championship is temporarily forgotten as Formula One celebrates the return to form of one of its favourite sons.
Jarno Trulli, fourth in the grid, and the cars look very good on warm-up. You must be very confident for the race.
Yes, of course, especially after yesterday's qualifying and today's warm-up. Car is feeling very well, handling, balance, so I'm really confident that we can do a good race.
Do you think you'll actually be on the pace in the race with the McLarens and the Ferraris? Because normally you're a little bit off.
Yes, in the past we have had lots of problems to keep the tires alive. With this new tire specification, probably we can keep up with the best team, but it's not going to be easy.
Best of luck. Thanks, Jarno.
Craig Pollock, an unfortunately short race for Olivier Panis. What did you see of the incident?
Well, just the same as everybody else. We saw Alessi coming up the inside and Jacques obviously having to pull left, and it's just an unfortunate incident. We'll look at it when we get back. I'm pretty sure the two of them get on so well that he's not going to try and do that to him. So we just have to sit back and analyse it.
Tough luck. Thanks for talking to us.
Jarno Trulli, very short race. What happened on the way to the first corner there?
Well, I had a very good start and I was next to David by the first corner. Unfortunately, I don't know if he didn't see me or just closed the door, and so it was a shame because I couldn't find any more space to avoid the accident.
Just a racing incident?
Yes, probably, yeah, but you know, when you are outside, probably you have to think about how you move, because the guy inside cannot find any more space to avoid the accident in case you close the door.
Well, you know, 2 into 1 doesn't go, and although Jarno was on the inside line, he made a better start. I had track position because I was slightly ahead, so I felt that the corner, in terms of us doing it at the correct speed, was mine. And then when I turned in, he was still there. So, you know, I'm not going to do a Jarno bashing session because, you know, he obviously saw it from one point of view and I see it from another. But ultimately, if two cars come together, it does neither of us any good.
And what was the damage to your car? Why have you had to stop?
Rear suspension was broken and then it let go coming into priority.
So that's absolutely a major blow to your championship aspirations?
Only if Michael finishes.
OK, David, tough luck. Ralph, what happened? Ralph has just run away. Ralph.
exciting victory for McLaren there, but in some ways, perhaps the wrong McLaren won?
No, not at all. We're here first to win and second to win championships. We won the race. Championship is still open. It's harder, but it's not impossible. And we'll win more races this year.
The German Grand Prix at Hockenheim could be the race where Williams dominate. Mika Häkkinen had enough horsepower to be best of the rest after qualifying. Ralf Schumacher starts behind Juan Pablo Montoya, who scored his first Formula One pole position, while Alonso's challenge almost melted away on the grid. High expectations raise tensions in the Williams garage. Starting from the pit lane is a major achievement for Minardi. The pace setters make the most of the start, with Montoya leading Ralf Schumacher. Michael made a dreadful getaway. He's a potential and unavoidable hazard. Luciano Berti's Prost is a wreck, but at least it's still the right way up. Michael Schumacher's Ferrari also has terminal injuries. 2 damaged cars and plenty of wreckage leaves the ball firmly in the court of race director Charlie Whiting. The miraculously unscathed crash partners contemplate a very brief Grand Prix, but they'll get a second chance as the race has been stopped. The red flags put the spring back in Schumacher's step, and the spare Ferrari is almost ready. Those puncture-producing sections of carbon fibre have just about been cleared away, giving the world champion plenty of time to take 4th position on the grid. Prost have also done a great job to allow Berti to restart. Tension with more than a hint of concern is the prevailing atmosphere at the restart. The Williams reenact their first getaway, but this time Michael Schumacher leaves the grid at something like normal speed. Häkkinen digs in for a long afternoon. He'll struggle to stay with the leading pair. The frontrunners approach 220 miles per hour, and the slipstreaming begins. The Ferraris definitely have the legs of the McLarens, as demonstrated by Michael Schumacher. De La Rosa shows how not to approach a chicane at the expense of Heidfeld. King of the 2 stoppers, Rubens Barrichello is side by side with Coulthard. The McLaren driver has the inside line, but the light Ferrari easily drives round the Scot, who is relegated to 6th. Bernoldi and Fisichella battle for 13th. Bernoldi doesn't take any prisoners, but immediately pays for it. Despite the strong-arm tactics, the Italian battles on. Barrichello continues his 2-stop assisted charge. Häkkinen's 4th place is under threat. The Finn provides less resistance than his teammate, allowing Barrichello to focus his attack on Michael Schumacher. Bernoldi repeats his corner-cutting antics. That could incur the wrath of the stewards. Montoya and Ralf Schumacher still lead, while Michael lets his better-equipped teammate pursue the Williams BMWs. Last-minute sub Ricardo Zonta is overzealous in his pursuit of Verstappen and carries out some unnecessary surgery. That's all Eddie Jordan needs after the grief he got for Frenson's mysterious sacking. Montoya looks odds-on for his first Grand Prix win. He has a sizable lead over Ralf Schumacher, who's being hunted down by Barrichello, but the Brazilian has yet to make his first of 2 stops. Schumacher is losing touch in 4th, but is well ahead of title rival Coulthard. The fight for 9th is Honda-powered, with the BARs of Panis and Villeneuve sandwiching Trulli's Jordan. The Italian's car looks nervous under braking and loses the battle for traction at the Ost curve. Barrichello is in for his first of 2 stops. Can the Ferrari number 2 maintain his pace and get back into contention in front of 5th-placed Coulthard? The Scot moves ahead, but he'll have a hard time staying there. Especially if his Mercedes engine behaves like Häkkönen's. After his British Grand Prix success, normal service has been resumed. The Finn was running in 5th. Lack of horsepower affects Coulthard again. McLaren just can't live with Ferrari in this race, and Barrichello easily recaptures 4th. While the Brazilian carries on where he left off, his fellow South American is in big trouble. The fuel hose turns into a dripping tap and drops Montoya to 5th. Michael Schumacher's situation is even more desperate. A fuel pressure problem puts a record-equaling 51st victory out of the question. All this leaves the way clear for his brother to take his 3rd victory of the season, providing Williams have got their fuel rig sorted. A smooth pit stop puts him on course for the sweetest victory of all, one on home soil. Engine failure ensures Montoya won't be troubling his teammate. Coulthard picks up the pieces to run 3rd, while Ralf Schumacher looks secure in the lead. The German's Williams is surviving, despite Hockenheim's car-breaking reputation, unlike Coulthard's McLaren. A second Mercedes failure practically buries the Scots' championship hopes. Prospects for a 2nd place finish look good for Barrichello, who takes his final stop. Hydraulic problems put out Trulli. Eddie Jordan probably wanted to go home early anyway. Ralf Schumacher would be very happy if the checkered flag came out now, but the leader still has those tense last few laps to complete. The Arrows drivers may be oblivious to the number of laps left as they tussle amongst themselves. Bernoldi dives down the inside of Verstappen for 8th. The German crowd swells with national pride as Ralf Schumacher rounds the final corner and wins his home Grand Prix. Ralf finishes well ahead of Barrichello, Villeneuve and the 2 Benetton Renaults of Fisichella and Button. Montoya's retirement was a big help, but this was still a good performance by Ralf Schumacher. Villeneuve's 3rd place earns Craig Pollock plenty of Japanese brownie points, while Barrichello boosts Ferrari's monster Constructors' Championship total. The Canadian racks up an unexpected 2nd podium finish of the season.
I've always had a bit of bad luck here. I've never really finished in a good position, and I mean, to be here today in a German package to win the race in Germany is a great feeling.
Position is going to be going to the back of
The Hungarian Grand Prix saw Nigel Mansell clinch the 1992 Drivers' Championship. Will it witness the coronation of a four-time champion in 2001? The crucial qualifying session saw Barrichello line up third behind Coulthard, who must beat pole sitter Michael Schumacher to keep alive his slim championship chances. A good start is a must here, and for Coulthard and Schumacher it's absolutely critical. The world champion gets one, but Coulthard is immediately challenged by Barrichello and drops to third. Disaster for the Scot. Catastrophe for Eddie Irvine, whose race lasts a matter of seconds. At the front, Michael Schumacher leads from Barrichello and Coulthard, while Montoya takes 8th place from Raikkonen. It's all going to plan for Ferrari as Coulthard is stuck in third and Ralph is fourth. His teammate struggles to keep Raikkonen ninth. Button is finding it hard to make any headway. A stop-go penalty for jumping the start makes sure of that. At least he gets a second chance, unlike Bertie, who has spun into retirement. Montoya has a setup problem, and just keeping the car on track is proving difficult. But he still has the wherewithal to stay 8th ahead of Raikkonen. Enrique Benoldi's error is beyond correction, and he's out of the race. The pit board makes enjoyable reading for Michael Schumacher, who's in a commanding lead. Barrichello's doing an excellent job of thwarting Coulthard's progress. Much to the chagrin of Ron Dennis and Adrian Newey. Their former world champion lies 6th behind Trulli and is closely followed by Heidfeld, Montoya and Raikkonen. The Finn tries an optimistic move down the inside, but pays for his desperation and now must fight off Heidfeld. Coulthard has closed right up with Barrichello, but as in Monaco, overtaking is nigh on impossible at the Hungaroring. The race leader comes in for his first stop. Schumacher temporarily drops to 3rd behind Barrichello and Coulthard. Their stops will be crucial in deciding the Scots' championship fate. Barrichello makes his initial stop for fuel and new tyres, handing 2nd place to the Scot. But for how long? Raikkonen's possession of 6th could also be temporary, with more unforced errors like that. The pressure is now firmly on Coulthard and the McLaren mechanics. It looked to be a good stop, and it gets the job done. Finally, something for Ron Dennis to cheer about. At the front, Michael Schumacher comes up to lap Panis, while avoiding Jenson Button's stricken Benetton Renault. The young Brit's wretched season shows no sign of improving. Alonso spins out of 17th position, a rare mistake by the Rookie of the Year candidate. Another debutant is also having an off day. Montoya's incorrect setup is exposed as Schumacher effortlessly puts a lap on him. The Colombian is running in a far from trouble-free 7th. Further ahead, 5th-placed Hakkinen can afford to acknowledge his thousands of Hungarian fans. Michael Schumacher leaves the pits following his 2nd stop. His mechanics have done their bit, and the German shows no sign of letting the side down, as the championship is tantalisingly close. The Ferrari mechanics face a critical test, as 3rd-place Barrichello comes in for his final stop. Coulthard needs to put in some red-hot laps to guarantee 2nd place. The Scots' job hasn't been made any easier thanks to Barrichello's ultra-fast pit crew. Montoya struggles to stay ahead of Panis, but once again an ill-handling Williams diverts him onto the scenic route. Fortunately, Coulthard has been free of such distractions on the run-up to his most critical pit stop of the season. It's a good one. However, Barrichello is dangerously close. There's fractions of a second in it, but that's enough for Barrichello to retake 2nd. Coulthard's relegation takes the pressure off Michael Schumacher, and the race leader can practically cruise to the line. Hydraulics failure ensures Trulli won't get that far. Panis BAR succumbs to electrical failure, while Hakkinen's race has livened up. The Finn puts Ralf Schumacher's defensive skills to the test as they battle for 4th position. Michael Schumacher is well in control on this tight, twisty track, and De La Rosa's lap Jaguar is yet another obstacle between Coulthard and staying in championship contention. Getting to grips with a new car has proved almost as big a hurdle for Prost debutant Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Michael Schumacher is just a few corners away from perhaps the most important victory of his career. The travelling tifosi rejoice as Michael Schumacher wins the Hungarian Grand Prix and equals Alain Prost's all-time record, and, most importantly, earns his 4th world title. John Todd and Ross Brawn start the party on the pit wall, while Schumacher receives early congratulations from Barrichello. The Parc Fermé is overflowing with emotion as Schumacher receives the accolades he deserves.
In such a moment, I'm probably not a bad racing driver, but I'm quite a bad person in finding the right words in such moments. So you have to forgive me. I can't say much more than it has been a beautiful weekend. I mean, we did everything we could have done. We have such a great crew. I mean, such a good team. I'm really in love with all of them, and it makes so much fun to work with them. It's their achievement, and I'm more than thankful to all of them.
The traditional Schumacher leap is fueled by the fact that Ferrari has retained their constructors' title, scoring nearly double the points of McLaren. Maranello's finest have crushed the opposition. Both championships have been wrapped up with 4 rounds to go.
We weren't sure whether it was an exhaust problem or an engine problem, but apparently they're changing some of the electronics in the engine. We prefer to find out what the problem is here than find out during the next test. So get them out, find it, it'll save us some time.
I'm tired.
Sorry, just still gonna move on a bit.
Round 14 sees the drivers tackle arguably the most formidable challenge on the calendar, Belgium's awesome Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Every vantage point is used for this potentially historic race. Michael Schumacher could score a record-breaking 52nd Grand Prix win here. A wet-dry qualifying session saw the ubiquitous Montoya take his second pole of the season, ahead of his teammate Ralf Schumacher. Both could put the world champions' history-making aspirations on hold. The field is all set for the sprint down to La Source, except for Frentzen, whose stall throws away fourth position on the grid. A great shame for Alain Prost's cash-strapped team. Frentzen will be joined on the back row by soon-to-be ex-pole sitter Montoya, who has also stalled. Start take two sees Ralf Schumacher lead from his brother. Fisichella utilises Benetton's new traction control system to seize fourth behind Barrichello. Fifth-placed Villeneuve accelerates towards Eau Rouge, site of one of his biggest accidents 3 years ago. The Schumacher brothers battle at over 200 miles per hour. Ralf forces Michael wide, but he still easily takes the lead. Barrichello holds third, followed by Fisichella, Hakkinen, Coulthard and Villeneuve. An anxious Alain Prost watches as Luciano Berti gets too close to Irvine, with the worst possible result. Irvine emerged unscathed and helps the marshals in the desperate scramble to get medical aid to the Brazilian. Sensibly, the race is stopped, while Berti is transferred to a local hospital. A rear wing problem leads to Ralf Schumacher's bizarre predicament. The mechanics ran out of time while fixing it, and the team believe it is better to have him start from the back than be penalised later in the race. Start number 3 sees Michael Schumacher take control again as Fisichella improves on his previous getaway and climbs to second, ahead of Barrichello and Häkkinen. Montoya gets bumped wide by De La Rosa, and he won't let that go unpunished. The entire width of the track is used for the battle for 7th between the Jordans of new boy Alesi, Trulli and Villeneuve's BAR. Trulli grabs the inside line, forcing Villeneuve onto the grass, and Panis into desperate evasive action. As a result, the Frenchman drops back to 11th. Montoya has made his way up to 12th, but his BMW engine ensures he doesn't get any further. Patrick Head knows that Williams will require much better reliability to mount a title challenge next year. Ferrari's bulletproof package allows race leader Schumacher to throw caution to the wind. Fisichella is still second, but comes under increasing pressure from Coulthard. Häkkinen fights off the attention of Barrichello, who has dropped to 5th. But the Finn won't have to worry about the Brazilian now. A pit stop beckons. Coulthard has moved up to 2nd after Fisichella's final stop. Can the Italian quickly redress the balance? It's touch and go, but the Benetton has more momentum and reclaims 2nd position. Panis and Marquez lapped cars obscure the intense battle for 2nd. It's Mercedes versus Renault, and the Silver Arrow takes a comprehensive victory. Fisichella will do well to keep Coulthard in sight for the rest of the race. It's a 3-way fight for the last championship point between Alesi, the recovering Barrichello, and Ralf Schumacher. The Ferrari number 2 picks his spot, moves out of the Frenchman's slipstream, and takes 6th place. More frustration for Eddie Jordan as Trulli's Honda engine chooses the self-destruct option. He has borne the brunt of the team's technical problems. Trulli's demise promotes his teammate up to 6th. But Alesi's possession of the last point will be brief if Ralf Schumacher has anything to do about it. His brother is on the verge of an historic victory. He rounds the final corner to win the Belgian Grand Prix, his 52nd Grand Prix win, beating Alain Prost's mark set in 1993. Coulthard's impressive drive to 2nd place is obscured by this monumental achievement. Fisichella's podium finish is also a great performance. However, Michael Schumacher is the man of the moment.
Thanks to whatever problem Williams had, I didn't have to fight against them because you saw the first start, they just pull away and I had no chance. And I think even on the 2nd start, if Ralf on the 2nd position, he would have just beat me into the 1st corner. We didn't need to find out, and I had a clear race from that moment on, and obviously delighted.
This is certainly one of the most important trophies Michael Schumacher has ever received. This victory marks him out as perhaps the greatest Grand Prix driver of the modern era.
Heinz-Harald Frentzen, 4th place in qualifying and a very good warm-up as well. Therefore, points today?
Well, hopefully yes, but it's going to be very tough for us here. And we have made some improvements. Whether we can hold or keep on with the same rhythm like the guys around here at the moment, it will be very difficult to say right now. We will see that. Hopefully we have a chance.
Jan Wilder, very bad luck. What happened there?
Well, we don't know yet, but obviously the car stalled. So that means a new start, and we're going to go back in the grid.
Eddie, can you tell us something about the accident?
Not really, no. I was obviously going very long into the race. I was on a long one-stop, so I was very slow at the start of the race. Just basically tried to hang on to my position. And coming into, I don't know what the corner is, Lutz, his front wing hit my rear wheel and he went straight on, I spun. That's all I really know.
Did you see Burti in the car? You looked for
Yeah,
him?
but apparently he's fine, which is great.
Okay, thank you.
Hanging on in there, it was very, very close. Humour on the Jordan pit wall from...
On the eve of the Italian Grand Prix, Formula One paid its respects to the thousands who died in New York on September the 11th. Among other tributes, Ferrari decided to race without sponsorship. Alex Young becomes Malaysia's first F1 driver by taking Tarso Marquez's seat at Minardi, while Thomas Enger achieves that distinction for the Czech Republic. He subs for the injured Luciano Berti at Prost. Montoya took his third pole of the season ahead of the Ferraris, with Barrichello in front of Schumacher for the first time in 2001. Monza's first chicane caused plenty of headaches last year, so the teams braced themselves for the worst. Montoya gets away well, as do the Ferraris. 20 of the 22 cars jockey for position as Heidfeld and Fisichella start from the pit lane. Villeneuve might as well have done. As expected, mayhem ensues. Häkkinen misses the chicane completely, while Button uses Trulli as a brake, putting the Jordan out of commission. Montoya locks his left front wheel in an effort to stay in front of Barrichello. Ralf Schumacher has dropped his brother to fourth, but the world champion fights back. He has a light fuel load, the inside line, and third place. Michael now focuses on showing Barrichello who's boss. The front runners accelerate towards the Parabolica. Further back, the best battle on the track is between Raikkonen and Verstappen. The Sauber pulls out of the Arrow slipstream, brakes that little bit later, a bit too late, and the Dutchman takes full advantage. Ralf Schumacher's losing touch with the leading trio as Coulthard closes. Pedro de la Rosa holds down an impressive sixth for Jaguar. His teammate is fading fast as Raikkonen demotes him to ninth. More Renault engine woes for Button, who was running last after his collision with Trulli, while fifth-place Coulthard's Mercedes V10 also signals its demise in spectacular fashion. Barrichello's efforts are just as dramatic. Ross Brawn looks on with quiet satisfaction as his number 2 takes the lead. Tifosi favourite John Alesi has fifth-place Verstappen in his sights, but his lack of brakes at the first chicane could get him in trouble with the stewards. Montoya's second place is under threat from Michael Schumacher. He closes right up to the Williams at the chicane, forcing Montoya into a questionable manoeuvre to stay ahead. Häkkinen has almost fought his way back into the top 10. Bernoldi's Arrows is the last obstacle in his way. The Finn uses his horsepower advantage to make easy work of the Brazilian. The Jaguar R2 has been far from trouble-free. Eddie Irvine retires for the 10th time this season, thanks to a misfire and an oil leak. While an experienced hand goes out, rookie Alex Young finds his limits. Michael Schumacher comes in for his first of 2 stops. Team principal Jean Todt seems satisfied with his pit crew's work as Montoya moves up to second. Will his one-stop strategy count against him in the later stages? It's definitely helping him at the moment as he assumes the lead, courtesy of Barrichello's fuel rig mix-up during his first stop. On the eve of the race, Mika Häkkinen announced that he will be taking a sabbatical from Formula One. Transmission failure will only reinforce his decision. Poor reliability has dogged this year's McLaren Mercedes. That's their 11th retirement of the season. Montoya has also been plagued by ill fortune, but he has the talent, the machinery, and the opportunity to win the Italian Grand Prix. Verstappen's race showed plenty of early promise, but ends disappointingly due to an engine problem. Montoya comes in for his sole stop and takes on a pair of used front tyres. His front wing is adjusted to prevent excessive wear on the Michelins. The Colombian drops to third and his teammate takes the lead, but Ralph has yet to come in. Williams team manager Dickie Stanford keeps a watchful eye on proceedings as Ralf Schumacher comes in for his sole stop and receives the same treatment as Montoya. Ralph drops to fourth and Barrichello assumes the lead, but he has yet to make his second stop. Michael Schumacher comes in for the second time. This has been a strangely low-key race for the German, who drops to fourth. the Ferrari mechanic's focus shifts to Barrichello, who is about to make his final stop. This should ensure the win for Montoya, but he has had victory snatched from his grasp already this season. Barrichello is now third, but Ralph's brake and tyre problems give the Brazilian the chance to try some slipstreaming. They're side by side going into the chicane. Barrichello gets his nose in front, but Ralph hasn't given up yet. He brakes very late, cuts the corner and wisely lets Barrichello back through. It's doubtful whether the officials would have let him keep that position. Barrichello's pit board indicates that Montoya has a relatively small lead, but it's enough to give him his first Grand Prix victory. The Brazilian finishes ahead of Ralph and Michael Schumacher, while Pedro de la Rosa earns 2 more points for Jaguar. Is this the first of many victories for Formula One's new superstar? The Tifosi sportingly applaud Montoya, who becomes Colombia's first Grand Prix winner. Montoya takes an overdue first win. However, Barrichello was unlucky not to take his second.
So happy, you know, and first of all, I think I want to thank everybody at Williams, BMW, Michelin. They've done a fantastic job for me, and I'm just so pleased with the result.
The world-famous Indianapolis circuit plays host to the United States Grand Prix, the first major sporting event in the country since September the 11th. Round 16 of the championship also marks John Alesi's 200th race. Michael Schumacher qualified on pole for the 10th time this season. His old rival would have lined up second, but he exited the pits under a red light during warm-up, had his best time excluded and was demoted to fourth, behind Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. Even at his last race, Joe Ramirez still feels the tension, as we are seconds away from the start. Michael Schumacher maintains his slender advantage. Montoya gets past Ralf, and Barrichello demotes Hakkinen to fifth. Montoya tries a hopeful move round the outside. Barrichello shows how it should be done and takes third. The field have negotiated the first corner safely, while Montoya tries to keep Michael Schumacher in sight. The leaders approach 220 miles per hour on the start-finish straight, while Nick Heidfeld, Kimi Räikkönen and Jarno Trulli make use of the full width of the track as they squabble over seventh. Unfortunately, 3 into 1 won't go, and Räikkönen's front wing is testament to that. Schumacher emerges from the haze, while Barrichello hassles second-place Montoya. The Brazilian's usual light fuel load helps him make easy work of the Colombian, but Montoya only needs to stop once. Will that help him get back ahead? Michael Schumacher helps his teammates quest for second place in the Drivers' Championship. 10 points would put it out of Coulthard's reach. Alesi is determined to celebrate his hallmark race with some championship points. Button does little to spoil Alesi's anniversary, and the Frenchman is up to 8th. Much to Flavio Briatore's annoyance. Barrichello's superiors will be in a better mood as the race leader prepares for his first of 2 stops. Jean Todt hopes that his mechanics can make this risky strategy pay off. The Brazilian's stop allows Schumacher and Montoya to retake first and second position, and Coulthard will shortly move into third place. Montoya has the leader in his sights. Despite that fact, Patrick Head looks far from impressed. Once again, Montoya uses his US racing knowledge to get good momentum off the banked curve and tucks into the world champion's slipstream. Schumacher is wary of a move down the outside, he leaves the inside exposed, and Montoya isn't slow on the uptake. While Montoya goes from strength to strength, his teammate slips down the order. Nick Heidfeld takes 8th place with ease. Heidfeld's antics make great viewing for the Sauber mechanics, while their Williams counterparts have more pressing matters to deal with. Montoya exits after his sole stop and rejoins 5th behind Barrichello. Ralf Schumacher has had a lackluster race, and it doesn't get any better. That self-induced retirement will go down like a lead balloon in the Williams garage. More bad news for Williams. A second victory for Montoya is put on hold by hydraulic pump failure. This wasn't the triumphant return he had been hoping for, but it was great while it lasted. Pedro de la Rosa's confidence has been boosted by his points finish in Italy, and he now targets the top 10. But his competitive instincts get the better of him, and Villeneuve pays the price. Craig Pollock knows the consequences of clashes like that, and the former Indy 500 winner is forced out. With all the drama up front, Häkkinen's progression to second has gone almost unnoticed. Have his mechanics done enough to keep him there? To the world champion's dismay, the answer is yes. However, Häkkinen leading Schumacher has not exactly been a common sight this season. The Ferrari pit crew prepare for crunch time. Ross Brawn braces himself as Barrichello is in for his final stop. Despite their best efforts, the lead is lost to Häkkinen, at least for now. Eddie Irvine is enjoying one of those rare occasions when his Jaguar doesn't mask his skills. Heidfeld has left a big gap down the inside, and Irvine takes 6th. That trail of smoke could mean one of two things for Barrichello, either a small oil fire or a major engine failure. The latter option would gift a win to Häkkinen and be a great going-away present for Joe Ramirez. A spectacular exit looks on the cards as Barrichello slumps to 4th behind Coulthard. Ross Brawn prepares for the inevitable, and Barrichello's V10 delivers. This ensures that the battle for second place in the championship will go down to the wire. Imminent victory puts a spring in the step of the McLaren team as Mika Häkkinen rounds the final corner to win the United States Grand Prix. The misfortunes of others helped, but it was still a great drive from the Finn. David Coulthard's 3rd place behind Schumacher will help brighten up a disappointing season for the Silver Arrows. Jarno Trulli's 4th place will do the same for Jordan in their pursuit of Honda-powered honours. Häkkinen gives the impression of a man who has had the weight of the world taken off his shoulders. His sabbatical has given him plenty of inspiration.
That was definitely one of the highlights of this season for me, definitely. And winning a British Grand Prix this year was for me something that I always wanted to in my book basically, and Indianapolis was the other one, and this is it, you know.
While it's all smiles for McLaren, Jordan are looking anxious as Trulli's car is under investigation for a technical infringement.
Jean Lazy, you're going to become, I think, the 5th person ever to do 200 Grand Prix today. How do you feel?
Old. No, I feel really proud to have been in such a fantastic business. I have to say thank you a lot to Bernie Eccleston, who really made for everyone here in our business a great job. And now I'm with Eddie Jordan, and really I'm looking for this Grand Prix to make a good results.
Juan Pablo Montoya, very bad luck, but a fantastic race there.
It was going quite well. I don't know what happened, just died. The engine was still running, but I think something broke the gearbox.
Talk us to that move on Michael, it's superb.
It was pretty good, you know, they were kind of a lot more downforce, they were a lot quicker in the infield. But, you know, I knew if we get to some traffic, I could pass him, and we had the opportunity.
Great race, thanks.
The Suzuka circuit in Japan hosts round 17 of the championship. We are near the end of a long, hard season, and unsurprisingly, everybody is in party mood. A season-long break and Formula One retirement will await two of the sport's icons. Mika Hakkinen is taking a year out, which could turn out to be permanent, while Jean Alesi will compete in his 201st and last Grand Prix. Alex Young's third race will start from the pit lane thanks to an electrical fault. He'll be joined by Bernoldi, who stalled his arrows. Pole sitter Michael Schumacher gets a good start, followed by the Williams of his brother and Montoya. Fisichella utilises Benetton's excellent launch control system to threaten fourth-placed Barrichello. The Brazilian shrugs off the attentions of the Italian and sets his sights on Ralf Schumacher. It almost goes without saying that Barrichello is running a light fuel load. For Barrichello's three-stop strategy to work, he needs to pass Ralf Schumacher, but the former Japanese Formula 3000 champion knows every inch of this track. However, local knowledge is no defence against a light Ferrari, and third place is Barrichello's. Adventurous driving further down the grid has cost Frentzen his front wing and any chance of ending a difficult season on a high. Barrichello is now right in Montoya's wheel tracks. The Brazilian brakes as late as he dares into the chicane, and even the Williams mechanics are in awe of that manoeuvre. The battle for second rumbles on as Montoya powers down the inside of Barrichello to retake that second place. Raikkonen's progress grabs all the attention in the Sauber garage as 10th placed Alesi is on the prowl. The Frenchman edges ever closer, but that counts against him when the Finn suffers suspension failure. The wrecked cars finally come to rest. The rookie and the veteran had a lucky escape. Relief, tinged with disappointment at the Jordan garage. This is hardly the way to end a distinguished Formula One career. Michael Schumacher enters the pit lane for his first of two stops. He'll lose the lead, but the Ferrari crew are experts at damage limitation. Erja Hakkinen looks concerned, and with good reason. Her husband is about to renew acquaintances with his old rival, who rejoins in fourth. Everybody wants a lasting image of the battle for third, as it may be the final chance to see two of the greatest drivers of recent history locked in combat. Schumacher uses all the curbs to position himself perfectly for an attack on the start-finish straight. He goes for the inside, but Hakkinen shows no sign of throwing in the towel and snatches back the racing line to stay in third. The Williams mechanics get ready to receive the race leader. As in Italy, Montoya takes on used front tyres and rejoins in fifth behind David Coulthard's McLaren. Tyre wear is the least of Eddie Irvine's problems, as a fuel rig malfunction ends a forgettable season for the Jaguar #1. Dickie Stanford takes a reluctant stroll across the pit lane as Ralf Schumacher is sentenced to a 10-second stop-go penalty for repeatedly straight-lining the final chicane. The German's punishment coincides with Rubens Barrichello's second stop, and the Brazilian's strategy will go further down the toilet if Ralf gets out ahead. Rubens does get out first, but Ralf isn't prepared to accept sixth position and uses every bit of track, and some he shouldn't, to get ahead. But a momentary problem slowed the Brazilian, and that could get Williams off the hook. Sixth place Barrichello channels his frustration into finding a way past Ralf Schumacher. The last chicane provides the opportunity, but Ralf cuts the corner yet again, further frustrating the fuming Brazilian. Allowing Barrichello through could remove the threat of another penalty, but Ralf shows no sign of doing that. Barrichello hasn't got time to ponder the German's ethics. He snatches back fifth to the delight of his fans. The Williams team don't know what to make of their man's bizarre race. Michael Schumacher's second stop ends his spell at the front, briefly handing first place to Montoya. Häkkinen has risen to second place, but he also requires another set of tyres and fuel. Will the previous order be restored, or can Montoya's pit crew gift-wrap the lead? Not this time. The Colombian will have to work very hard for his second win. Ron Dennis boys are currently third and fourth, with Häkkinen leading the way. The Finn's team-playing instincts come to the fore as he lets Coulthard into third. The Scot could take second in the Drivers' Championship with a podium finish here. In contrast, gearbox problems end Fisichella's race and Benetton's last season on a flat note. As they have done 8 times before this season, Maranello's finest storm the pit wall to greet their favourite son. Michael Schumacher wins the Japanese Grand Prix ahead of Montoya and Coulthard. He's now equalled Nigel Mansell's record of 9 wins in a season for the second time.
It's a great season which has finished. Yeah, even I'm struggling to find the right words now. The point is that with that result to go into the winter break, that's obviously very nice. You can relax, you can look forward to next year, and the team obviously can be relaxed, especially after what happened a little bit the last 2 races. In sport generally, people put very quickly question marks about your competitiveness, and that's the way to answer them.
Michael Schumacher has added another entry to his already impressive CV. Such was his dominance that the record for the most points in a season has also been claimed by the German. Ross Brawn and John Todd also deserve credit for this monumental achievement. The combination of Ferrari and Schumacher has done it again. Few would bet against the German equalling Fangio's record of 5 world titles.
John Alesi, everyone wants to give you a hug. How are you feeling on this, your last race?
Thank you, Charlie. It's my last race, but you know, thank you, Kim. It's time to leave the place to the young drivers, and
I will try really to make the best Grand Prix as possible.
Do you think you can score points?
It's what I'm looking for, of course, yes.
Best luck, thanks.
Mika Häkkinen, this is the last pre-race interview of this part of your career. How do you feel?
I'm sorry, I just have to go. I'm sorry.
No, you must have more to say than that, Mika. Come on.
I'm looking forward to see how it's going to go. Obviously, we are trying to win this one because it would be fantastic to win the last Grand Prix. Our performance compared to competitors who are in front of us at the moment is not great, but we have to keep optimistic mind, positive mind. Anything can happen, so I'm looking forward to the start of the race.
But this is a circuit where you've always shone. In fact, you won the championship here by winning in 98 and 99, so maybe today?
Maybe today indeed. We'll see.
Good luck, Mika. Thanks a lot.
I have just to say we have been lucky, both of us. I am very happy I didn't hurt him because he was just on the front and my nose is quite high, but I'm very happy everything at the end went very well. Just a bit sad to finish my career like that, but his life is motor racing and we have to accept these situations.
So what exactly happened? Because you came in for a pit stop and then you came back in again straight away.
Because the rig's screwed, it's not working, there's no fuel. The rig's broken, it's not working, it's no fuel.
I'm going away because I need time off, and after 5-6 months you never know what I'm gonna feel. I don't want to, you know, this is a happy moment for me. This, you know, I cannot find anything sad at the moment. You know, people won't disappear anyway in Formula One. There will be the same people in Formula One. You guys gonna be here, mechanics gonna be here, engineers. I'm not gonna disappear anywhere from this planet. Nothing is sad. I'm happy I've been able to come to this decision in my life.